Aseel, my name is Ash Singh. How are you doing today?
I'm great, thank you.
Tell me a little bit about what you're working on.
My name is Aseel Honein, and I'm the founder of Architecture in a Box. Architecture in a Box offers fun educational products and workshops for kids and teenagers to learn about cities and the built-up environment. We have a unique learning methodology to help kids enjoy learning and retain information inside the classroom. We are the first to offer online hands-on career orientation workshops for those who are interested in pursuing architecture. So we noticed that the problem in architecture education is the lack of preparation for schools for students to attend it, and also the gender equity problem in the workplace, and students not being well introduced to topics from a user point of view to the city. So far we have done workshops and products with over 500 kids in Lebanon and UAE, and we've had significant success because kids would enjoy it even if they didn't want to become architects. These are essential information and know-how for kids. Yeah, and we can tell that there's a global rise of interest in the entertainment sector. I don't know if I have time, so.
Oh, yeah. Well, your 1 minute is up. Tell me, Aseel, what would you like? What are you looking for?
Well, with $150,000, we will be able to produce and distribute our products in the MENA region instead of producing them only in Lebanon and shipping them to be more competitive in our prices in the Gulf, in the GCC, and the MENA region. For $250,000, we could be producing and distributing our products in USA and in Canada. So the point here is that we're able to design and produce products from here, but we think it's more strategic to relocate and create some kind of a franchising.
Okay, excellent. So that's clear. Thank you for that. All right. So, Aseel, let's give you some feedback. And for everyone that's in the session as well, we want this to be the most powerful elevator pitch feedback session for Aseel. Okay. So if you're in the chat, feel free to provide feedback on the pitch. What were some of the questions that were going through your mind in order for you to help her? So any constructive feedback. Our job is not to be Aseel's friend. Our job is to help her become a masterful elevator pitcher. Right? So when we think about architecture in a box, Aseel, before I give my elevator pitch, I have a couple of questions for you. So if I understand correctly, you have created kind of an online learning experience for people to learn about architecture. Do they get anything as well? Like, do they have to learn with some sort of software or hardware, or is there, like when they're going through that journey, how does it work? Because I was trying to understand whether it was purely online or if it was kind of hybrid where you get a kit and you can, I don't know, Lego, I don't know the age group. So the age group, I didn't know, and I wanted to know how they were actually learning and what made your methodology amazing versus there must be some architecture software out there, right? Stuff for the old people, right? The professionals, because I know that that's available kind of at the high school level. So can you shed some light on that, please?
Yes, sure. So we started targeting at the beginning teenage years. It means 12 years up, 13 years up, because this is the age that they would start be interested in career guidance. But then we realized that we started catering to kids below this age, because parents would be, my kid is very good, trust me, he could be with you guys in the same workshop, and he is 8 years old. And then we targeted kids starting 5 years old because it started just happening. So we do have different lines. So we do have the hybrid you were talking about. We have products kids receive before the online workshops begin, and then they would use the kits to do the workshops. And we are able to tailor products and curriculum according to the organization or the parents' needs or the topics. So even with schools, we are able to create some kind of a history lesson using our kits based on their needs. So we've got the paper line, we've got the cardboard line, and we use even we are even able to produce through some printouts with the parents some online workshop which is pure. We don't need to just send them physical products. But that has not been very popular because parents want to take this out of their own scope. They want less things to do. They would rather buy the kit and then have the kids work it out.
All right, got it. Thank you for that. And I know there's some feedback, right? So, I know Teddy's given some feedback as well. If you think that, the market size might be different, and sometimes you might get some feedback from people in the chat around the market size, right? But I understand what you're saying is that you've created a product for basically teenagers, right? Teens, tweens that are looking to kind of get into architecture. And what is for me, I'm trying to understand, part of education is evolving and changing. How is architecture and your product going to be important for the students of today for their future, right? Because that didn't come out in your pitch. I get that it's an architectural product and you're educating people, but for me, I wanted to understand why do we have to change that, right? Architecture has been taught at colleges and universities at a certain time. You've decided to bring it down to a younger age. Hopefully there's a reason beyond just parents wanting it, right? I want you to teach my kids architecture. What is the real reason, and why is this better for the future of mankind?
Yeah. So architecture education, if we are reusing it in a different way than the typical traditional purely pedagogical architecture education. We are reusing this kind of education in storytelling.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Disciplinary approach at a young, included in STEAM education and the maker community. So now what we do is that we believe that architecture is the foundation of our cities, and us as the users in the cities, we understand our houses, how the layout and the orientation, and how to be better consumers and how to be better citizens inside the city when we understand the importance of water consumption and green spaces and green roofs and other topics. So what we do is that we focus on bringing values that have been missing in the curriculum. I mean, they teach civic engagement without proper community-based projects, and they teach a lot of theoretical in school without applying it. With our curriculum tailored for students, we are reusing architecture education. We're not using it in the conventional way just for them to become architects. We're just helping them learn and reuse information.
Okay, that's interesting. All right, now, Aseel, you're looking for $150,000 to $250,000, correct? For your growth. Yeah. Okay, and Aseel, have I ever heard your pitch before? Is this the first time I'm hearing your pitch?
It's the first time I do a 1-minute pitch anyways.
Okay. All right, so you've never pitched, okay? So this is kind of new to me, correct? This is the first time, right? Just so the audience knows that this is like the only knowledge I have is a couple of sentences on a pink piece of paper. So what's going to happen, Aseel, is I'm going to attempt to pitch your idea back to you.
Yes.
Okay? And I'm going to do it in a minute. So you got to keep time. Now you get to be that investor, right? And keep me to time. Okay. Yours was a little bit over time, which is fine because you were the first person to go. And I'm going to pitch the architecture in a box, right? And it's focused on teenagers, right? And beyond just the idea of architecture. Okay, I like that. I see where that's going. So I'm going to try to do that. And I'm just going to wait for us to hit the top. And when I hit the top, you'll see the background start to change. You can introduce yourself, and I will attempt to pitch your idea. Okay? Okay. All right, we are hitting the top now.
Hello, how are you? My name is Aseel Honein. How are you, Ash?
I'm very well, Aseel. My name is Ash Singh. I'm part of the Architecture in a Box team. As you know, the world is changing, right? We are looking at spaces differently, Education is changing. There's a lot of different challenges that we face in today's world. What I wanted to do as an architect myself, I have devised and developed an architectural education platform to help high school kids grasp and understand all the elements of architecture that they could have learned when they were in college or university. We believe that the way spaces are going to be developed requires the creativity of younger minds, of fresher minds, and we think that our platform is going to drastically change the landscape for architecture and architectural education. We've launched already. We've had our first 500 kids join our program in Lebanon, and we want to now expand. We'd love to talk to you for $150,000 to $250,000 investment so we can change the ecosystem for architectural education. Okay? So that was my attempt. Now, what I wanted to do, and I was stuttering a little bit on it, but and you don't have to give me feedback, Aseel, but what I wanted to do was talk about the fact that I really wanted to come across the fact that the education space needs to change and the best ideas. And when we think about, the lack of space, right? We live in a world where there's a lack of space, okay? And part of that is that it's the way we think as from an architectural perspective, correct? And so when we think about some of these challenges, right, the fact that like the housing crisis we have in every country, right, can be solved if we start to kind of think differently. And it starts with being able to educate the young folks to evolve and develop new ideas, because the old people that have done things the old way are not going to create these solutions, right? So Aseel, I wanted to kind of bring that out in the pitch as well, okay? But I like what you're doing. I want to just, talking a little bit about the pricing as well. I'd like that to come out. How much do people pay for it, okay? How much do they pay, and how do they get, how do they get involved? What does a customer look like, the lifetime value, and then also bring that up because that's what an investor would be looking for, right? How valuable is this? Are parents paying $100? Are they paying $5,000? Are they engaged with you for 3 months, 3 years, a year, etc., right? Bringing that out would also, be important as well from an investor standpoint, okay? So I'd like to see that as well. But I think it's a lot of fun, and hopefully my kids can be a part of this when they're a little bit older, right? I'd love for them to kind of get access. And I think the idea of getting world-class architects on board to kind of connect the dots, because kids are always aspirational. I think that would also be really cool too, and if that's part of your product. But I think it's exciting, and we wish you all the best, Aseel. Thank you for joining.
Thank you so much.